tip.
Good afternoon. It is November 18th, 2024. You're listening to a little of column A, a little of column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? I have a very big, important question for you right off the bat. Do you believe in sports karma?
I guess so. I wouldn't say I'm really reconsidering certain decisions based entirely on karma. But yes, in the greater scheme of things, I suppose I'd like to have a little bit of faith in that.
Because, I'm usually kind of maybe more agnostic. It's like, no, it doesn't really matter. But, last week I mentioned on the podcast, down under, I'm in Australia. I'm still there, switching from work to vacation now. But last Tuesday in America, it was Wednesday for me. I, was doing work stuff. So I was not able to watch the Duke game or the Celtics game, both losing and both were expected to win. And I think it's my fault. I think it's my fault. I wasn't watching. And do you ever come across this where you feel like it's silly? I know it's silly. It really, I'm not a player. I'm not a coach. I'm not with a team, but it seems like I'm a fan and I have some part to play. And since I wasn't watching, like, it's my fault. Am I crazy for this?
Absolutely, you're crazy. There's no argument to this at all. All right, this is the whole. So we always sit in this order on the couch, and we drink this at this time, and we never do that, and nobody ever gets up and goes to the bathroom for the whole game while we're winning. We don't need to do any of that. While you can feel like you're part of the team and that you are contributing to all of this, the team's going to do just fine if you don't. You know what they don't know? They don't know if you're doing this or if you're not doing this either. They're completely unaware. So this is entirely you feeling you're forcing the importance upon yourself for no reason other than to feel bad too. What are you going to gain of all this? You're going to feel good when they win. You're going to feel even worse when they lose. You are opting for that.
You say this, but the Celtics lost Emirates Cup game against the Hawks at home without Trae Young. How? We had all our guys. We were ready to go. And I asked you, hey, does it mean like we're done? And you said no. But I remember from last year that if you lose once, like, now everything has to go right, and we have to like destroy the other teams. And I don't know. Do you think?
Look, we'll be fine. All right. They
do you think that we?
You want to know the hot take?
Do you think that we lost on purpose, or do you think it was like a mass?
No. It didn't have anything to do with the Celtics. I'll tell you that right now. You're reading too much into it. So you think we are somehow in control of all our own destiny here, and maybe it had a little bit more to do with Atlanta. And maybe people should start opening their eyes to the possibility that Atlanta is better without Trae Young. That defensively, they were able to do a hell of a lot more than they would have with Trae Young out there. Now, they were able to score that night against the Celtics. I believe we're missing Drew Holiday. We are still missing Porzingis. I'm not worried about all this. This whole Emirates Cup, it's nice. Maybe I thought we would maybe dominate it. We still can. We'll need to have some more wins, and it will come down to point differential, which, again, we didn't get blown out in this game, and I got a feeling we are going to blow out some teams, and that might be enough to get us back into that tiebreaker with that point separation. I'm not worried at all. I think you should give Atlanta a little bit more credit because as someone who actually did watch the game, they played better. They played better than what you've been advertised as Atlanta throughout this whole season. So when you come back, take another look at Atlanta with or without Trae Young, and you might look a little differently. I mean, your Jalen Johnson guy's been killing it, man. He's been awesome.
I've been hearing a lot of good things, but are you not concerned for the tournament, or you're not concerned about just like the Celtics like as a season?
I don't think there's really anything the Celtics can show us this season that is going to change my opinion. They're running back the same thing as last year.
I'm not concerned for the season. It's just I'm trying to
You're trying to care about the tournament.
We got this in-season tournament. Like, I'm trying.
You should be trying, and the NBA wants you to try. The problem is that we're the team. We're not hanging up mid-season tournament banners, all right? Let's just be honest on who we are, all right? We're qualifying at a different level here. We're reaching for a different standard. This is a new thing. If we hadn't won last year, I imagine I'd want to go out this year and win this thing. But since we did win last year, I just want to coast and get healthy and get the team that won the championship last year back to the finish line this year. And I don't think playing extra games, I don't think prioritizing, NBA Cup stuff is really going to be what's the best interest for the Celtics this year. So I don't think you really need to worry about all that. I don't think you even need to worry about the court designs. I think we have made a big step forward from last year into this year. There are still some very bold colors, but I think for the most part, though, the textures, the designs, the vibes of all of them have a little bit more unique feel. Some got mountains, some got like these textures and logo designs that look really, really cool throughout the whole court. Not nearly as highlighted, vibrant colors as last year, which I think was just maybe it looked better in person, but just on camera, it's kind of rough as a home experience. Some of those really, really red courts, really, really green courts. So I thought they tuned down some of the aggressiveness of those colors well into next year, and I think we'll improve hopefully even more into next year. There's definitely going to still be a few. Have you seen one that's still like, I can't believe they're playing on this still? Like, this looks so ridiculous.
I think they did improve it from last year. They have the general where like all the teams have a like the same design with like the colors being different, but I like it more and more this year.
All right, now we're going to talk more NBA after all of this, but we gotta get through the NFL week here. It's that time of year. We're getting closer to Thanksgiving. Some teams are really good, some teams are really bad, and I don't know what some teams should be doing at this point in the year. Some of them should just be deciding what should we be doing next year, because this year is over. Let's just kick things off on this Thursday. Do you want to go back into how we did this week? I think I got one pick on you. There's really, what's the story here?
Yep.
I made up one.
Yeah. You nudged your way. Yeah.
Inch by inch. I'm running out of time here. All right. So we are on to week 12. We'll be kicking it off on Thursday, where the Pittsburgh Steelers will be at the Cleveland Browns. Don't look now, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-2. They just had their best win of the year. If you go back and look at all of their wins, there's truly not one that stands out that's like, oh, wow, that's a really good team. They kind of just out-professionalize all these amateur teams, and they kind of did the same thing to Baltimore here. I mean, King Henry's got a fumble. He only touches the ball for 13 carries. He's not on the field for the last game. Justin Tucker is broken and misses 2 more kicks. And Russ honestly doesn't even play well for this, and this is still the biggest win for Pittsburgh this year. Does this say more about Pittsburgh or more about Baltimore?
I think at this point I have to just switch. Like, I think the Steelers are good. It says it by the record. They're 8-2, but what you said, and that's a good way of putting it, is just like out-professionalizing, where you look at the record and like a little softer, but the Ravens, I would think, or I thought last week or the week before, are legitimately good, and they just grind it out. No touchdowns. They just field goal them to death. And I think we also got to discuss the Justin Tucker situation, that he was the most elite kicker. Like, I mean, if you want to go back to like Vinatieri, but you could just trust him the whole time. Doesn't matter how much pressure. But now we're getting closer. It's midway through November. We're going to be getting closer to the playoffs. If the Ravens are in like a tight game in the playoffs, it's not that long ago. They have Tucker. You're marching down. Like, just count it. Where now, like, this is starting to become a concern.
The strange thing with it too is the impressive part that we all admire and really trusted in Tucker is the trust. It wasn't like, oh, this guy can kick it farther than anyone else, or if this guy's got a bad spot farther right or farther left, he's really good still. And it's the reliability, like you said, of just being able to put him out there and have a really good feeling that the odds are in your favor. And the second that gets a little shaky, I mean, I see teams all the time. They just try to power through it as if it never happened. And I think we're at a point right now where this has reoccurred enough times, and we're also at a point right now in the season where other teams are starting to get a little bit more aggressive with some of this kicking staff, getting handsy with some kickers, some long snappers. They're getting highlighted a hell of a lot more. This is a game where Baltimore does not score a touchdown, and yet they still lose and could have won had Justin Tucker made 2 more kicks. Look, at the end of the day, you can blame Tucker all you want. I still think it is a concern. I definitely don't trust him as much. But this Baltimore team has to score touchdowns. They've done that the rest of the year. They didn't do that last week. Maybe that's a credit to Pittsburgh right there. But as big of a win as this is a Pittsburgh win where they beat a team that didn't score a touchdown and missed 2 field goals. Like, this isn't even. Yeah, congratulations. What a job.
But it seems like this. But it seems like this keeps happening. They just put themselves in like the right situation, and it doesn't make any sense. they they've started two different quarterbacks. What other team this year has had two different quarterbacks start, not because of injury, like on purpose, not even just this year, like in recent memory that have been successful? I don't get it, but I think I have to, in my head as I'm making these picks, I have to start thinking of the Steelers as a legitimate good team. And if it's like in the mix, pick them. Which still, it seems weird, but it's almost like the reverse of my Cardinals and my Chargers. It doesn't make sense, but they're good. Where you think, oh no, Cardinals, they got Kyler Murray, he runs around, he's so fast. Like, no, they're good, and they burn you every time. It's like, no, Steelers are good. I don't get it. They don't have a guy that runs around and is all awesome. Yeah.
They did play Fields yesterday. He ran for a first down on like the last play of the game. All Pittsburgh needed once they got the ball back, and Lamar went 4 and out at the goal line over there. He kind of gets forced out. It was a terrible play. Again, Henry wasn't even on the field. I don't know what they're doing. Fast forward into all that. Pittsburgh gets the ball. All they need is a first down. Baltimore has no timeouts left. And Fields comes in and does like this crazy bootleg, and he slides, and he does the first down gesture. And it's like, bud, man, you're like 1 yard short. You like slid 1 yard before. The game would be over had you done it, and this would have looked like, oh, wow. Look at Tomlin really having the guts to put this guy in. It was a great play. If he doesn't slide right before, do you think we're going to see him come in and do a little quirky runs like this a little bit more often? This team also does not have a lot of points or a bunch of touchdown scoring. They only get 18 points here. Maybe if you had a little bit more Fields wackiness, you could surprise the team and get a touchdown.
It seems like you should. Like, you have this asset on your team that others don't. But just the quarterback situation is so unique where I'm trying to think, like, who is the other like backup quarterback that you could use like in this fashion, and it's Taysom Hill. That's the only one I can think of. But he does like so many things, but it's not like the Saints have been like super successful. So that's where I'm kind of split. On one hand, if you have this asset, you should use it. But on the other side, I've never seen it before, so I don't know how you use it effectively.
I just think some teams. It's funny that I'm at the point now where I'm for Russ starting. I think I was against it earlier, and I thought the decision was just going to create conflict because I really didn't expect Russ to play as well as he has. So that has made this transition a lot better. If Russ continues to play bad, he didn't play so great this game, I think it becomes a little bit more of a conversation. With that being said, I think Fields is actually going to be better off limited like this. I think him playing every snap was too much of this, and it wasn't structured enough. And I think him coming in and doing flashes of this here and there could really shock some teams, especially some bad teams that are just probably not as prepared. They're coming off a short week this week. Cleveland is not a very good team. We'll get into our pick of this right now. This is not a fun season for Cleveland. Injuries aside, that they quit last week. I mean, this team lost to the New Orleans Saints, who looked like an expansion team the week before. They didn't even look like anything put together. So Pittsburgh's going to win this week. I wouldn't be shocked if Fields came in when this is a huge blowout and Cleveland's just getting completely smacked. I got Pittsburgh in this one. It seems that inevitable that this team is going to go 9-2 because they're just so much better than Cleveland. Like, what is Cleveland going to do that we haven't seen this whole year that is suddenly just going to snap in and work? They're going to have to outscore Pittsburgh, and I don't think they're capable of that. I got Pittsburgh. Who you got?
Yeah, I have the Steelers and agree with you that Cleveland had the expectations versus where they are right now has to be one of like the most drastic margins. I'm glad I'm glad I'm not a Cleveland fan because you're coming in, you're thinking, all right, we should be good. We got Myles Garrett. All right, quarterback's coming back. We're going to be in the mix. We're going to be better because we have like got Deshaun, and you're thinking Houston Deshaun, but
I do think they're still a quarterback away. Tillman played well.
It's a disaster.
Njoku played well. Elijah Moore played better. And Nick Chubb is still on this team. Is there a scenario where this team just circles a quarterback next year and that they are suddenly relevant, or does this have to be a complete teardown?
I mean, you're naming all the names. It's like it seems like it should work, but yeah, maybe it is just like a new quarterback. But they're spending so much money on Deshaun. I think they're in trouble. I don't think they can recover like you're spending so much on a guy that's not playing. It takes up that much of the salary cap that you unless unless they're able to get rid of him somehow, whether team wise or legal wise. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be able to recover.
All right, we both got Pittsburgh in that one. Let's move on to the next game. Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. Minnesota taking care of business against Tennessee. The Bears, this is so bad that I feel bad. That's where I'm at. It's unbelievable. You could go back and write the worst season in history possible of like how can we lose in the most crushing way possible in consecutive weeks in a year that should be happy for Chicago. That's the funny part about all this is that they got the number 1 pick. They actually got a guy who didn't even play bad in this game, and yet they still weren't able to win. And more importantly, they continue to just get dominated by the Green Bay Packers. I do not see a scenario where even as boring as the Minnesota Vikings are, of them losing to Chicago. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't think Minnesota is like 8-2 good, even though they are 8-2 good, but they're so much better in Chicago. What else could go wrong for the Chicago Bears this week? I'm going with Minnesota. Who you got?
I'm also going to go with the Vikings. I think maybe the Bears just have to reassess where coming into the year it was, you got a top pick last year, so team was bad, and trying to make that jump all the way, it's very hard. So I think it's just like they started so hot, but I'm wondering, like if you had asked a Bears fan in July, obviously you never want to lose to the Packers, but it's like, hey, like, would you sign up for before Thanksgiving? You're 4-6, but Caleb has like shown flashes. Looks like he might be, a future like actually legit quarterback. I think they might sign up for that. So I think just maybe like the beginning part of the season when they went on that win streak, that they had like expectations that's kind of killing them for it. It takes longer. You don't just turn around a whole thing in 1 year with a rookie quarterback.
No, I think you could be in a way worse situation similar to Cleveland where at least you have a future and a hope where your quarterback you just drafted can get better. If you're Cleveland, if you're the Jets, if you're these teams with aging quarterbacks that cost money, what's your out? You don't have an out. There isn't a chance that Rodgers is going to be better next year. All right, there is a chance that Caleb Williams is so much better next year. There's a chance he's better this game. Like this guy is going to get better. So if you're Chicago, go ahead.
Yeah. Not even a chance. It's just I think it would be likely. Just number 1 pick, Heisman winner. I don't think you're getting too far away from like the realm of possibility where you say like there's a chance. I guess there's a chance that Mac Jones could all of a sudden turn into a good quarterback, but it's a chance. Where this seems more likely that as he goes along, he's gonna figure it out and he's gonna be better. I don't think he's gonna save the season this year, but just down the way, just knowing you have like a competent quarterback, in the league at this point is a huge win.
That's all right. So that's the good news is that they have a quarterback. They didn't whiff on this. They didn't mess the pick. I think they might have done that in the past with some guys, and they got even creative in the draft, trading up, trading back, giving up stuff from futures that they didn't need to do. This is at least set for the future for right now. Now, what isn't set for the future is the coaching and the decision at the end of the game to completely settle for a 46-yard field goal and put no effort with the timeout and trying to get closer to potentially win this game. I mean, Caleb Williams puts them in field goal range. I give him a ton of credit for all that. This offense does what it has to do to get into field goal range. There's probably 25 seconds left, and they choose to just let the clock run all the way down and kick the 46-yard field goal, which is blocked, and that is the ball game. I saw another team just score a touchdown at the end of the game, and you know what they did? They won. Would it be so crazy, so unheard of to maybe try to win the game and with the guys that have been out in the field all day and not just rely on your kicker, let alone just say, 46 is in range. Well, why would we need to get any closer? There's no reason our kicker can do this. Why would we ever need to make things easier on ourselves? Let's take the road with the most obstacles. I don't understand it. We do this podcast purely out of fun, and it seems like Monday quarterback of announcing everything the day after, but nobody the day off thought this was a good idea. I don't think you would ever want to throw away an opportunity to just get closer. You could just run the ball too. You had the timeout. You didn't even run a play. Maybe you don't want to do the interception. Maybe you're that scared of a fumble, but this is a scenario where you don't take advantage of every single second in a game, and it cost you one. And that's not the first time this has happened with this team. The last second Hail Mary is another example. I mean, they're 4-6, and they have a good quarterback. They should be happy. But I do see the frustration and the punishment of this team as they continue to make silly mistakes like this every week. And I don't know what else to point to other than the coach. They just got rid of the offensive coordinator. How long is this head coach going to last, Zach? That's where the rant ends. Is there an end of the road coming here?
I think he's going to stick around.
Really?
I think the Bears. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that they've never fired a coach midseason. And I think that Chicago, I think in general, they are a cheaper kind of organization. So I don't think they want to fire a guy, especially you have a rookie quarterback. And like I said, it's because they started so hot. If they had started not so good, it's like, all right, yeah, no, we're kind of, we're figuring things out. Like, the Patriots, with Drake May. It's just, we're kind of figuring things out. We didn't expect to be good, but we just want to see like that the quarterback is progressing. So, do you think like a coaching change? Like, do you think that would move the needle with this team?
I think there's so many moving elements in football that it's hard to just pinpoint it on. Yeah, the guy in charge of it all should have told everyone else to play better. But it does seem like the things that you hope to happen of, say, your rookie quarterback just getting through a game, actually not turning over the ball, your defense making stops, your special team being effective. Like these they've put themselves in positions to win. If they could just capitalize at the end, just close a game out, which a lot of the closing, I think, is coaching. I mean, the Hail Mary thing, you got one guy on the sideline doing whatever like that. I don't remember that ever happening in a professional game. That doesn't happen.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Yeah,
that doesn't even happen in a high school game.
Sure, a bad look.
I mean, look, if that happens in high school, are you getting allowed on the bus back home? I mean, just think of our era high school.
Yikes.
Don't do this modern stuff with the softness. I mean, just imagine Meehan as your football coach and that sort of locker room feeling when that ended. I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous right now just thinking about it.
Yeah, you probably should. You probably should. And this team should be fine, but that coach is the one who should be nervous. Next game, Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts. Detroit won 52-6. The Jaguars are terrible. 646 yards of total offense. No Sam Laporta. Complete dominance here. Not a whole lot to talk about here other than just points on points on points. Their opponent this week, the Indianapolis Colts, had a little bit more exciting of a game. I called it. I told you. I said the Jets, it could get worse. This season could go even lower, and it happened. Anthony Richardson is huge and just bulldozes his way. Game-winning drives. How much lower could the Jets go?
I told you. The Jets season was over when the Patriots beat them.
Yeah, that's probably true. But you picked them last week, though. You still thought the Colts were going to lose to the Jets. You still bought into this Rodgers madness.
I think it did. I think I think you're right. Yeah, they're doing this goofy thing with the Colts don't know what quarterback they're doing, but yeah, the Jets season's been over for a while.
The Jets started this game. I think their first 9 possessions were 3-and-out. All ended in a punt, and I don't think they got a first down in the first half. I think that's just how it continued the whole half. It's bad. It's terrible. So I just wanted to gloat on that one more time. That it was like I told you the Jets were going to lose one more time. They'll probably lose more times after this. I think it's officially over. They're done. They're eliminated. They need to start worrying about next season, which is probably what we should be talking about with the Indianapolis Colts right now, is what should they be worried about for next year? Because this was a better Anthony Richardson game. This was an offense that was good enough to win, playing the Taysom Hill style football game. I don't know if there's a future in this, but there were moments where he just slung the ball over the field and made a play, and moments where he kept the ball, ran down the sideline, and just truck sticked some defender. I don't know what the future of all this is. They have no chance against Detroit, but I'm liking what we're seeing out of Richardson. There's a lot of fight in this. This guy didn't look playable a couple weeks ago, and he looked like a football player this week. I don't know if that's the diet you want to live off of, though. Do you think the Colts have any chance playing that way?
Not this year, but you were more on Flacco should play. This team can make the playoffs. I was saying you have to keep playing Richardson to find out what you have in this guy. A couple weeks ago, he has to get pulled out, and I just think he didn't realize what that meant. But it's not like on his ability. I think it's just like he just didn't realize. But now that he knows, hey, you're the quarterback. Tom Brady has never said, hey, yeah, no, I'm tired. Put somebody else in. Like, no, you're the quarterback. You have to play, every down. Just that's how it works. So I think that will be helpful, and that he had. I mean, he was good last year, and I think he's got to keep playing this year to get the reps. To then, it's not going to be a this year thing. But I don't think that Flacco was going to make a big enough change just for this year.
I think there's a ceiling with Richardson that isn't as high as I was hoping for, but I do think he's going to be able to do this against a lot of bad teams. Now, I don't know if that puts him over 8-8 without getting some lucky wins here and there, and I definitely wouldn't want to play that wild card of a quarterback in the playoffs, and maybe that's more of the threat that we need to see out of Indianapolis. They just have to sneak in one year that they have no business being in, and then be like, oh my God, how are you ever going to stop Richardson? He's like bulldozing for first downs. He's jumping for goal lines, and suddenly that's a little bit more shaky in a win or go home type of game. But throughout the regular season, I just don't see this guy ever really being dominant. I don't think he's good enough in the pocket, despite having some decent weapons around him too. But I don't think they have a chance this week, right? We're both going Detroit.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the other side of this, is that the Lions are legitimately good. Record shows it. Everything we're seeing shows it. But I want to ask you, this is, in line with, some of the other teams, you joke like Chargers going to Charger, that sort of thing. Are the Lions actually going to make a run in the playoffs where, yep, regular season, awesome. But once the playoffs hit, this team, it hasn't even made the playoffs, that many times in recent memories. So once they get the playoffs, how confident are you?
I think right now, how are you not super confident? I mean, who is the team that you were fearful of? Who is the team from last year that has reloaded and is improved and it is not limping into the playoffs at this point? This team looks healthy. This team looks fresh. They didn't even have Sam Laporta. They scored 52 points last week. And who's the other team that's jumping up and really making some noise of an actual threat? I mean, we were all Washington's still having a fantastic year. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as Detroit. I mean, you think the Cardinals are real? You think San Francisco is just going to come back? They're 5-5 right now. They got a long way to go. They're going to be lucky they even get to play Detroit. How do you not feel good if you're Detroit at this point, though? I mean, what are the other teams? You have an entire division with Tampa, Atlanta.
I think it's
a complete mess, and everywhere else they're not a mess. How do you not feel good about it?
I think that's exactly why I feel this way, where they're head and shoulders, above, the teams that you mentioned. But I don't know. It's like, it's the Lions. Maybe this is just a, just a bias, but I can just see, like, as a Detroit fan, you just get worked every year, and so, awesome. 1-2 loss team going into the playoffs, first seed, where we're in the driver's seat, and then all of a sudden you get beat at home, and you're just scratching your head again. Like, how does this happen? We were so good all year, but you're just snake bitten, and I don't know. I'm not all the way in.
It's more of a process of elimination than just falling in love with that team. There's a lot of things to love. We love the offense, we love the defense, we like the coach, we like all that. It's who's going to even challenge them that I could paint a realistic picture of that scenario even happening. I don't see the contender that's going to challenge them, at least at the moment right now. Now that anything can happen in the playoff games, I just talked about Anthony Richardson possibly stealing a playoff game. That's the wacky things that are going to happen. So somebody's going to win this division between Tampa Bay and New Orleans, and that's going to be the wacky team that's like, I don't know what to expect from Atlanta or someone like that. Just a long shot out of nowhere, upsetting your entire season. But for the moment right now, they shouldn't do anything else differently. They should continue to just destroy every single team every week. They don't make the schedule. Who's ever on it, they're in trouble. We'll worry about the playoffs when we get there. But someone else is going to have to drastically improve for me to feel better about anyone remotely coming near them. They just seem way more put together and way more of a finished product than any other NFC team. And AFC, I think you can go a couple different directions. The AFC, I think a team like Denver, I wouldn't want to play in the playoffs. I mean, Bo Nix lit everyone up this week. That was if that happens again, and that defense is legit. That's a whole team right there with Sean Payton as a head coach. Who knows where they can go? I see more scenarios in the AFC than the NFC is really just what I'm getting at. But good for Detroit. They'll take care of business again this week. All right, next game, New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Zach, we had a chance, but Drake May look good, and that's really all I'm going to walk away with. We don't have a defense. This is kind of the first week where I actually thought about rooting for Drake May in kind of a long term. You know, this is where I saw a long term relationship with him. This is that where he started batting his eyes at me, and I started really envisioning it. You know, I could really see the long term relationship of rooting for Drake May. It's the first time, and it's exciting. This team needs so much help. I would love to beat Miami this week. I'm going to pick the Patriots. Do I feel great about it? No. The Miami momentum might actually be real. Tyreek Hill scored. Achane seems back on track. It's a nice schedule. If Tua can stay healthy. This is kind of a win that Miami needs way more than us. And that's kind of where I left it last week thinking, like, if we could just be competitive in games and then lose, that's just going to be the greatest season ever. Where it's like, we don't even need to win. We just need to see Drake look good. And that's what I'm hoping for. But maybe we get Miami one more time, right? They're just as shaky as we are. Who's to say everything I just said is fixed over there? So I'm staying on the Drake May bandwagon. I think we're better than everyone is expecting, and that we were going to shock Miami on the road. Are you going with the hometown team? How much of a homer are you? Oh, you're not in?
I looked at it and I smiled, but I think it's going to be much more like the Rams game, where we can sort of be competitive. We want Drake to be good, but then we don't have that like last 20%. And going down, I mean, even when we were at the height of our powers, you know, the Patriots always had trouble late in the year going down to Miami. So, yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins. I looked at it, I was like, that'd be fun, but it's basketball season. Celtics are playing. You know, we're past football.
This is a chance I think we could see Drake May look better than Tua in a game, and that's just what I want to see happen. I want Miami to completely panic too, because Tua went out for a couple of weeks, and this looked like the worst team in football. If he's out again or gets injured again, or if they don't fix up another way to run an offense without him, they're just way more vulnerable. I like Drake May looking stronger every week. I know they got a little bit of momentum, but let's get a win. It's a rivalry here, right? This is in division.
I think last week was the surprise. Hey, we got to win, and there's not going to be very many more of those, if any.
Well, we'll see if you're even in the country for this one. All right, you can come back and be a Patriot on your own time, but I'll be the Patriot fan this week.
I like it because normally we're reversed. So this is fun.
I just look at Miami and I can't unsee how bad they were those couple of weeks without Tua, and I know that's not the same team. I know that's not the team that won over Vegas last week. They were so bad that I think we could do this. Like I think we saw them look so bad that we can be better. All right, next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants. Both these teams, what do we got? Both these teams coming off buys, right? Nothing exciting to report here. I'm going to blindly just go with Baker. I think that they're just a little bit more put together. I saw Danny DeVito is going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. Do you know why he is going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants?
Because Daniel Jones isn't good?
It's only half related to that. I'll give you 50% credit on this.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The Daniel Jones contract, if he gets injured, is guaranteed. And if it's guaranteed, he'll get another year out of all this. Versus if he manages to finish this year out and get healthy, the contract expires and they don't have to pay him all of that. So that is one reason to wrap him in bubble wrap and put him on the sideline, because we do not want to have to pay you next year. And the only way you do get paid is if you get hurt. And the only way you get hurt is if you play. He's not playing again. He's probably played his last game for the New York Giants based on everything I just told you. Why would he even want to come back at this team at this point? So Danny DeVito, is back. Well, we'll see what he's got for them. But I just think Duke quarterback on a team that's already struggling. I'll just blindly take Tampa. I don't trust them more, but I think Baker is way better than a backup quarterback. Who you got in this one?
Oh yeah, I'm going Baker. I'm not picking the Giants.
Yeah, tough,
easy pick.
Tough sell. All right, next game: Dallas Cowboys playing Monday Night Football tonight versus the Houston Texans. They will be taking on the Washington Commanders next week. Commanders. I mean, if you go all the way back to the Chicago Miracle, this Hail Mary, and you factor in this past loss, they're not really trending in the right direction. I don't want to say they've gotten better, but they've started to look more like the team we expected. That being said, is Dallas not the perfect thing on the schedule for them right now? Let's just fix this up. Let's play a really bad team. Let's look really good. I hope that they crush Dallas in this game. I hope they win by triple digits, just 100 points to 0. Just completely kill them. I know we'll see a little bit more of a vision on Dallas tonight, but I don't expect much from them, and I don't expect much of them next week. I'll take the Commanders. Who you got?
Yeah, give me the Commanders. And do we have to talk about the curtain situation?
Is it weird that they do it for other events and games and not this game, and that this was something their own players, their own Dallas team complained about, as if they have no control over it? So, is there more of a story than that? Like, why do you think that they don't use curtains?
I don't know. I mean, as we go along, it's getting more and more that there's less home court, home field advantage. So it would seem like in this situation, use it to your advantage. And to be going, on a drive and you're looking back right into the sun, like, why? You literally control the stadium. You could change the curtains at the quarter. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes less sense that they, at that stadium, when they host other events for other teams, they put curtains up. That doesn't make sense to me. If a college team came in there and played some expedition game, the curtains go up. If there's a concert there in the afternoon, the curtains go up. Why? This is a football stadium. This isn't. I know they use it for events and other things. Why would the football team that the stadium was made to play for have a lesser convenience than the visiting touring artists and teams that don't play here every week? Of the Jerry world prioritizing everything Cowboys, I don't understand why we're taking care of people that only come in for a day and leave the next day more than their own team. That doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. You should be using it to your advantage, not your disadvantage.
Well, I would love to go back and see, did they lose the coin toss? Like, was this the other team just outsmarted them? It was like, no, I don't want the ball first. I want to go that way. And that Dallas has kind of always assumed that they would be able to pick the direction, and that they knew this, and it got turned against them. Obviously, it got turned against them. The one guy dropped the pass. He said, I couldn't see.
Yeah, CD. Not just anyone, like their star receiver.
All right, enough Dallas. They're terrible. They're going to get crushed this week. Next game, Kansas City Chiefs at the Carolina Panthers. I mean, speaking about a team that's going to get crushed this week, the perfect season's over. It took a complete kill shot from the Buffalo Bills.
We did it.
What do you mean?
We did it. We both bet on the Chiefs, and they lost. We did it. We put the curse on them.
Don't give me that. My bets have been actually decent. All right, I've been all right. I didn't even share my bet. It was Terry McLaurin anytime touchdown. I found it on DraftKings for plus 140, and I found it on FanDuel for plus 1,000. I don't know if he's like got an injury or something, or if that's a bonus thing. But if you're able to find that,
that's a huge difference.
I would go for that. That's FanDuel Mass. I don't know if that even changes to FanDuel other state, but that was as of an hour ago tonight. So McLaurin has not had a touchdown in the last 2 games. It just feels like he's going to be due, and I just sounded like plus odds, which is why I took Kansas City last week, because it was plus odds over the Buffalo Bills. And up to most of this point of the game, I felt all right about it. Even up to the end of it, I felt all right. It took a complete kill shot of Josh Allen bulldozing into the end zone one more time to really just say, no, you have no opportunities. I have eliminated all chances of Kansas City winning this game, which is what it takes. At some point, Kansas City can start playing better too.
Yeah. You have to take it just right off the table. Don't give Mahomes any time. And the Bills know that better than anybody.
They're not going to have any problems with Carolina this week, though. This is the nice thing about it. So they lost last week. Oh, boo-hoo. 9-1 now. No undefeated season. Guess what? You get to play the Carolina Panthers this week. How many points are they going to score? What's the score of this game?
I think it's going to be low scoring. Chiefs offense hasn't been good like all year. I think they score like 24.
No, I think they hit in the 30s this one. I think they're in the 30s this time. I just think Carolina's bad. They're going to make turnovers trying to keep up once Kansas City goes up 14-0. And then it's going to just get worse and then worse. Another interception. Better field position for Kansas City. Better field position for Kansas City. Another punt. They're just going to be inching their way to an advantage every possession of this game. They should be able to score. Both got KC on that one. Next game, Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. Yeah, I didn't even ask. We're just I'm not allowing it. You're off the podcast. You're picking Carolina.
Yeah. What were we thinking?
Titans at Houston. Houston's playing Monday Night Football at Dallas tonight. I expect them to win. I don't think Dallas is very good. I don't think Tennessee is very good. I thought Levis had one nice touchdown pass. I will give him that. This is not a fun team. This is not a good team. I'm sorry, Tennessee. There's no upside. Versus Houston's got all sorts of upside. Assuming they take care of business tonight against Dallas, I'm not really worried about them taking care of business against Tennessee. I'll take Houston. Who you got?
Oh, yeah. Houston for sure. I know that they're like having their troubles, but Titans are bad. And Houston at home, they have to win this.
Yeah, they're another team. I don't know what they should be doing next year. Like, would you run the Levis experiment one more time? Do you want to see more of this?
I mean,
these aren't easy
young,
questions.
And we're kind of seeing if a guy gets like a follow up opportunity, but I'm out on the Mayo boy.
I think he's a backup. I think I get a little kind of Mac Jones feel out of him, where it's not that he deserves to be out of the league, but I really think the starters, to be a starter in this league, you got to be able to beat a bad team most weeks, and I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he's gonna do that. So that's seems like a backup quarterback to me. If you can't beat an average team most weeks, that's when you're a backup. Just get bounced around. He'll rotate, play for 10 teams in 12 years. It's doesn't look great. The next game, Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. I talked about Bo Nix. He was so money this whole weekend, putting up points. Atlanta is fake news. Denver should be so happy with this season. And they're going to get another win, too. They're going to beat the Raiders this week. I'm not worried about that. The Raiders are terrible. They should start prepping for the draft. That's Tankathon has started. I'll take Denver. I'm very excited for Bo Nix. I don't know if the Rookie of the Year momentum is going to carry enough for them, because they're kind of a boring team, being very defensive, but they should be ecstatic if you're Denver. What more could you ask for out of the season? They're 6-5. Offense is looking better week by week, and their defense is still very good. What more could you ask for?
Way ahead of expectations. Yeah, way ahead of expectations. Yeah. Give me the Broncos on the road. I don't know if I think before the season started, I don't think I would have been picking them. Would have thought the Raiders, their whole situation, but yeah, Raiders are bad. And yeah, Bo Nix, frisky quarterback. He's making things happen.
That was just some points. He made some play in some teams where you watch him, 18-16, and it's all kicking. And you have a quarterback who's in his first year scoring touchdowns. What more could you ask for? All right, troubles in the next game here. San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. Is this a must-win for the Niners? They are 5-5. They blew it last week against Seattle. I don't know what more they could do. This team has leads. This team it can't win close games. McCaffrey's back. The injuries aren't adding up. Even Purdy's playing well. What does San Francisco need to do to get a W? Because Green Bay is not messing around this year. They're 7-3. I know they took care of the Bears in a very lucky outing last week with a missed field goal, but for the most part, this is not a mess around Green Bay team, and I'm worried that San Francisco on the road here is in a very vulnerable place to go 5-6, and then you're under 500, and everyone else in your division is right there with you. Is this a must-win game for San Francisco?
Yes, but also I think that San Francisco just might not be good.
Oh man, we're doing this.
This happens over and over again. I'm going with the Packers. I've been picking the Niners, and I'm getting burned by them. And they have all the names. They have all the names, all your fantasy guys. But like at some point, it's not working.
I just it's similar to not loving anyone else to challenge Detroit. I mean, so if it's not them, I mean, you like Seattle more, you like Arizona more. I don't know if I feel that way. Do you like the Rams more? I don't know if I feel that way. None of those teams feel like they're any better in this. I mean, even as Philly looks as dominant in some of these games, I'm not that scared of their ceiling. I'm terrified of the Niners ceiling. I'm picking the Niners on the road. I just think it's a must-win game, and maybe you're right. Maybe this is the ship is sinking, and this is the week to turn on them. But I'm not there yet, and I still think that this Green Bay team, despite being very, very consistent and not a team I'd want to play every week, I don't know if they have Jordan Love has the scoring power to keep up with San Francisco. If they can score, you gotta put the ball in. You gotta get a W. All right, we're disagreeing on that one. That's a good one. Next game, Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Just talked about Seattle. Another Geno comeback. This one they were actually able to close out for him. It's taking care of business. It's a huge win. They're 5-5 right now. I have no idea how to feel about Seattle. I have no idea how to feel about Arizona. I mean, maybe is Arizona actually good now? Like, at what point do I start looking back at this and saying, I didn't buy into that. That's fake news. That's not a real team. Phony wins. Just continues to win another one. Is this another week here where we're going to be shocked by Arizona?
I'm going with Seattle. I'm invoking my rule back that you just don't trust the Cardinals.
Even off a bye week?
Going Seattle at home. Yeah, even off a bye week. You have to trust the coach on coming off a bye week, and no, the coach doesn't scare me.
So you're basically saying I'd rather have the Geno up and down roller coaster than the Kyler Murray up and down roller coaster, because there's not that many differences between these teams. They both have some decent weapons and have played really well and really bad throughout this whole season. If Arizona wins this in like a commanding fashion, I think I'm going to be forced to again take them seriously. They're 6-4 now. I'm not saying Seattle is this like huge accomplishment here, but they're going to be 7-4 at that point. I just think that I have to start taking them a little bit more seriously, where they are a legit playoff contender, in teams like the Niners that are 5-5. It just might not be, as you said. I'm not ready to do it though. I kind of hope Seattle does this just so I can reconfirm and be like, yeah, see, Arizona's bad. Yeah. All right, next. Go on.
I'm going back. I don't trust the Cardinals.
Next game, Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Rams. Philly had a very commanding win against the Commanders. They ran Saquon all over him. Saquon had a big game. This should be a big offensive game against the Rams here. Puka's back. Kupp is back. They kind of just patiently cut off the Patriots defense, just like slowly. Like just it wasn't like a one-shot kill. It was like they just bunch of lacerations all over the body, just bit by bit by bit. And they eventually just chewed us up. And I think that they're playing better, and I think this is a must-win game kind of for the Rams as well. If they, again, being 5-5, want to really compete for this year, they have to win this game, I think. I think this is a winnable game. Philly, I know they have the wins, and they've certainly looked good, but what's the best win on Philly? This would be a better win for them, and I think they lose this type of game. I'm going with the Rams at home. Who you got?
Oh, I'm going with the Eagles on the road. I like what I'm seeing out of them lately. I think this might be almost just funny because they're both in the NFC of, oh, awesome. Had a great regular year, and then in the playoffs, it's going to be torture. It's going to be torture for these fans. But Rams barely beat the Patriots, and we're terrible. So I think the Eagles are actually good. So yeah, give me the Eagles.
All right, last game, the Baltimore Ravens at the Los Angeles Chargers. We talked about the Baltimore struggles earlier. I wrote down Lamar didn't fumble, Lamar didn't drop passes, Lamar didn't miss kicks, Lamar also didn't play well. That's what I wrote down. They had 10 penalties, 3 turnovers. They didn't score a touchdown. I'm kind of all in on the Chargers. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. This is a big dog win this last week. All right, they won a shootout against the Chargers or in Cincinnati. They're legit. The defense is good. Herbert's playing better. This was kind of a comeback win as well. I think this momentum is just going to carry into this week, and maybe Baltimore isn't as good as we thought too. Maybe we start doing that. We're going to start questioning the Niners. I'm going to start questioning some of the bad Baltimore losses. A game where they didn't even score a touchdown. I don't know. I just think if you're going to go against a team with a really good defense like the Chargers, and you're not scoring touchdowns, you're going to be in jeopardy of losing that game. I'm going with the Chargers at home. Who you got in this one?
I thought I was going to be, going bold in this, but no, I am also going with the Chargers at home.
All right.
I think after last week and seeing it, I think, maybe the Ravens are, a little overrated. And normally I don't, pick the Chargers, but I think with Harbaugh, I think it's a different team. And I thought this was going to be my grab a little farther of a lead on you situation. I didn't know we'd be on so in line.
Hey, I just appreciate a team that was down and had to score just going for a touchdown. Like, what if we didn't just rely on our kicker? What if we just scored a touchdown? I like a team that looks at the game that way, and that's what they did last night. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, which they don't,
especially with it being under a minute, where it wasn't. If he had gone down, they could have put a bunch of time off the clock. It was seconds. So go get the touchdown, and then even the Bengals, even with Burrow, I get it. It's happened, with Mahomes was able to do it, but for what was it, 16 seconds, you want to be up a touchdown, and for sure you're up a touchdown. You hope if you're waiting that you'll get the field goal, but just getting the field goal is not a guarantee. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. We did have a real conversation. Cincinnati doesn't play this week. They lost to the Chargers in a very dramatic fashion. There's another game where I'd say Cincinnati played well enough to win and just didn't win. And they played well enough against a team that I think is pretty good. We're both picking the Chargers this week. It's not quite as bad of a loss for them. But, they had 2 missed kicks. That was a ref. Higgins was back. They're kind of a different team with him. We talked about this last week. It's like, what are we supposed to do for Cincinnati? This is the good team that doesn't win games? And we're just going to swallow that and say that all the next year? I mean, if you went in your job, you're like, I'm really good at this, continue to pay me. That's not how it works, right? You got to win games.
You got it, yeah.
I don't see.
Yeah, it's weird because they're fun and they're in these games and then they just haven't won.
I joked last week about how if anyone could just borrow a quarter of offense from Cincinnati, they would change records of teams. Like the Patriots would be over 500. The fact that this team is under 500 doing what they're doing is just incredible. Because the teams that actually are 4-7 and really do have 2 wins don't score 27 points, don't have comeback drives, don't have games that they're in despite their kicker missing 2 kicks. They don't score at all. They lose games 16-12. This team losing 27-34 every week. It's a head scratcher of how are you this competitive with this little wins? All right. Well, they're on a bye week this week.
They're not making the playoffs, but I think it would be interesting if they did because I think they'd be dangerous.
I do too.
Doesn't make any sense, but yeah.
Yeah, they would definitely win the in-season tournament for the NBA, right? That would be the Bengals,
yeah.
the worthless in middle of the season.
Right. Yeah, you just get your act together for 2 weeks.
All right, well, those are our picks for this week. We already got our bets. You told us your bet, right? Did you do your bet already? You didn't tell us your bet. What was your bet?
Oh, no, I don't. No, I didn't. Yeah. Going with the Packers. -125.
Okay. Packers, huh? Cheesehead. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's quickly recap a little college football from this past week. We're getting closer. What do we got?
This past week, Kansas upset BYU. No one really thinks about Kansas as a football school, so BYU was they were in the mix for the top 12, but they were undefeated. Kind of people were thinking might have been a little bit of a paper tiger. Seems like if you lose to Kansas, maybe that's the case. So upset there. Georgia gets back on track, beating Tennessee. So I think that'll keep Georgia in the mix. And I'm still just historically, I'm still thinking if Georgia gets in the mix, they can do some damage. But then this week, big games. We have Army versus Notre Dame. It's going to be at Yankee Stadium. Probably very cold. And then also on Saturday, we're going to have number 5 Indiana versus number 2 Ohio State. So kind of similar to BYU last week. People thinking, well, Indiana just hasn't played anybody. They're not for real. Well, we'll find out this week because Ohio State is for real. And yeah, we're going to find out. Well, is Indiana just playing cupcakes or they actually a contender?
We got 3 weeks left. 13 to 15. 2 weeks left. 3 weeks, 13, 14, and 15. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we're almost there. We're going to know more.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a the championship week too.
Yeah. The interesting with this is it's not going to be like college basketball where the bubble in and out is going to be all like kind of at the same day. Not because I guess because they all play on once a week. I'm just saying there's not like a fluctuation throughout the week of like, all right, so SMU won here, and now they got a chance that they'd win again Friday. It's like no, it's all Saturday. Everything's banked in on Saturday. So I think we'll have a better idea. You think we'll do projections next 2 weeks or so here of the 12 in?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So that's our college football update. It is also college basketball season. Michigan State, Duke, Kentucky, all these teams continue to play and continue to win. I have yet to see like a really great game, to be honest with you. I watched Alabama Purdue this past week. Shocked Alabama lost, and not only did they lose, but they got outscored. Like they lost 78-86. I kind of assumed if Alabama was going to lose that they were going to just have an off shooting night and lose like a 60 game in the 60s, but yeah, we'll have to reconsider some of that SEC offense over there. What are we looking forward to this week, and what happened last week other than that?
This week we got a nice balance. So Purdue versus Marquette on Tuesday, Illinois versus Alabama on Wednesday, Baylor versus St. John's on Thursday, and then Duke at Arizona on Friday. There's been a lot of talk, definitely during the Coach K era, that Duke doesn't do true road games, especially in the non-conference with Shire. He has definitely changed that up. And yeah, so this is not a neutral site game. This is at Arizona. It's 10:30 Eastern start. So I don't know. Drink your coffee later in the day. Just prepare. It's going to be a late night.
Hey, maybe it's a better time in Australia. You should just stay there.
I did think about stopping in Arizona on the way back, but then when I found it was at actually not in Phoenix, it was at Arizona. I said that doesn't seem fun.
It's too much enemy territory there. I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't want any part of that.
All right, let's do a quick little NBA talk before we get out of here. The midseason tournament is happening. I don't know if you're familiar with that schedule. What is it, Tuesdays and Fridays? Are the tournament days? Is that right? Is it Wednesdays and Fridays? Tuesdays and Friday. I don't remember. It's 2 days a week.
Tuesdays
and Fridays. You'll recognize it by the fancy court design. It's very obvious. I don't think you'll confuse it with a regular night of basketball, but apparently you have acquired some issues with this. I'm unfamiliar with this. You've been out of town so long that we haven't really communicated as much as we normally do. So what's going on? What's the problem with the Emirates Cup?
It's not a problem with the cup. It's a problem that the Celtics lost. That was my problem.
That's it. I wrote this all down. That was it. You just wanted to talk about the Celtics loss?
Yeah. No, I'm just mad that we were full strength. They didn't have Trae Young, and we got beat at home, and now we're going to be out of it, and now I'm going to have to deal with it.
I was really completely prepared to be like, oh, no, I like the in-season tournament. And you were just going to be like, no, it's terrible. I got problems with it. And this is your problem is the Celtics lost on the first night of it.
No, it was just, yeah. That's all it was.
I'm
fine. Like I said, I'm trying to get into it, and
you don't need to try. You're already in. What do you mean you need to get into it? You're already an NBA fan. What this is going to make you more or less of one? You're going to be less of an NBA fan because they're trying to do something different? Like, I don't think that sounds like you.
More like taking the tournament seriously and being like emotionally invested in it more than just like a regular season.
I think we did take it seriously. I don't think look, if Atlanta goes like undefeated now without Trae Young for the next couple days, that's going to be the real story here. I really thought this was going to be me debating this cup right now. And all it was you just whining about the Celtics for the one loss that doesn't even matter. All right, move on. How about some real?
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Let's do the sad news here.
You're saying it doesn't matter. We could easily not make the tournament now.
All right, and
we're going to be playing in the consolation.
I don't think there's a reward for us. We win real championships, and we will still be very competitive in this tournament. I don't think just because we lost once that we're suddenly just out. And you're also crediting that Atlanta is suddenly just going to take care of business the rest of the way here. They might be better if my theory continues, but there's a possibility they just go back to what you thought they were, and they're just a team without Trae Young, and that they lose to who knows someone else in our bracket, and that's how we end up getting a little bit ahead of them in the group play. It's not like we could lose every game. They could lose games too.
That we don't. That's assuming we don't drop another one.
Maybe we will. Who knows? I like our odds though. I'm not ready to restructure the Celtics roster right now based on one loss.
No, that's not it. I'm not concerned for like the whole season, but the hill just got a lot steeper.
I just can't believe I fell for this
the Emirates Cup
as a podcast topic. Like you just wrote it all like I got problems with the Emirates Cup. and that's what I wrote down. This is the partner I've chosen to do a podcast with, where I prepare for an entire subject and debate that he doesn't even have it. It's just not even doing it. He just wanted to whine about the Celtics. All right. Other NBA news.
I'm in Australia, so the game was on at lunchtime, so I was able to watch like the end of it, and it was close. And I saw our team, I saw their team. Was like, oh, we're gonna pull this out. This is gonna be awesome. And then no, it's the middle of the day, and you're taking L's.
All right. Last week we did NBA overachiever and underachiever. You've been out of town. I'm not going to put any pressure on you to do anything else. I will tell you just a couple catch up here with my two overachievers and my two underachievers. De'Aaron Fox, last couple games, 49 points, 60 points the game before that. It was in overtime, but still overachiever. I know there's a contract situation. He's hoping to get some more money. I like where the direction that's going. Sacramento should be happy. Just give him the money. I don't see. Did you have another guy that's going to score 49 and 60? Do you know? There's someone walking out of that locker room, Zach, that's putting up those numbers?
Yeah, no, I do. I do have a guy, and I got a little beef with him. I think I want to get your follow up on it. Giannis elbows Jaylen Brown in the head, and then gives like the middle school joke of like fake handshake. It's one thing if you just do it, but after elbowing a guy in the head. That was messed up, right? Or am I? I didn't see the game, so I'm like a little like removed from it. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's anything. I think the media is making more of it than it actually is. I'm sure Giannis and Jaylen are actually probably friendly in the degree, and that this was strictly a competitive thing of both these teams want to win. Both these teams are jealous of another. They both have a championship. The idea that these two don't respect each other is being purely played off by the media, and we're all suckers for falling for it. This isn't the first time an opponent went to go handshake you and they got blown off. All right. It was just the first time they got it framed perfectly on film and that they were able to run this highlight back. It probably happens every night.
I think it was more that it was like an aggressive move ahead of time.
What, to go handshake an opponent and then pull your hand back at the last second? That's aggressive?
No, that he elbowed Jaylen Brown in the head and then afterwards.
I don't. It's an aggressive game. He's an aggressive guy. I'm not going to be shocked by Giannis bulldozing through people. That's what he does.
But I think it's the combo. But like I said, I'm just seeing the headlines. After the fact, if you're saying it wasn't a big deal, I'll go with that. It wasn't a big deal.
I don't think we should be. Look, we want to beat Giannis just as bad as we did before.
We got Cleveland tomorrow.
Well, that is actually my other overachiever. I just wrote down the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everyone's on the whole team. They are 15-0. They have not lost this year. That's what 0 losses is like. This is continuing to go on. I'm going to go through their next couple of games of the schedule here. They will play Boston tomorrow night on Tuesday at Boston. Probably their best chance at their first loss. But then after that, they will be home to New Orleans. New Orleans is definitely on my underachievers list. I got a whole thing on Zion below here. We don't need to get into all of it. But then they will be home to Toronto, home to Atlanta, and then at Atlanta. I think Toronto's a mess. It's hard to beat a team twice in a row, but you just talked about Atlanta as if we should have never lost to them. I'm not saying they can't, but maybe this 15-0 Cavalier team shouldn't lose to Atlanta either. And then they are home to Boston December 1st. I don't need to go much farther than all that. I imagine we are going to be the team that's going to hand this team the first loss. Are we going to take care of business tomorrow night? Or are we going to wait a whole other week and do it December 1st on a Sunday?
It's impressive, not even just to start the year. A 15-game win streak, it's impressive. But yeah, tomorrow you're coming to Boston, you're in trouble.
Yeah, 15-1. Let's make it happen.
You're in trouble. We're not. Yeah, like you're having a good start. We could like have some times where we don't like all the way focus, but we're gonna be focused tomorrow. Not it's not a back-to-back or anything like that. Yeah, we're lock it in. Celtics win.
If we don't take care of business tomorrow night and they do go on to beat New Orleans, Toronto, Atlanta, and Atlanta, they're going to be 20-0 going and hosting us on that next game. And 20-1, it sounds right, but still 20 wins. At some point, they are going to get so far ahead. I mean, they're not getting any closer to us. They're not losing as a Celtics in the second seed right now. I don't know. It's impressive. They're definitely an overachiever. I hope we get our win tomorrow night. I think even if I'm Cleveland, I'd rather this just be over and be 15-1. But all right, underachievers real quick here. Not so fun stuff. Luka is on pace for 16 technicals this year. That's actually the same pace of last year, and he will likely be suspended again. Dallas is 7-7. It's another slow start. I don't know what's going to take for Luka to kind of wake up and start taking these games more seriously. I know he's capable of it. It doesn't look like he's injured. He's always got something wrong with him, but it's like I need someone to come talk shit to Luka every day just for him to treat it like a playoff game every night. And he's not doing that. Is this something you think we should be concerned about, or Dallas gets kind of slow in their start last year and they make it all the way to the finals?
I put them a little more in the like the Miami category, where last year they make the run even though during the regular season, and it's nice when it happens, but I don't think it's going to be the rule. So I don't think, or at least I'm not thinking of, oh, well, they're just kind of having like a mediocre, regular season, but they'll be able to turn it on in the playoffs. This isn't like a team that has done this year after year. It's like last year it happened, and I'm not seeing that happen again. So they need to get like their act together now.
The crazy part, and I'm going to win this argument right here. We're going to do this. All right, so Cleveland 15-0, Dallas is 7-7. If you had to pick one more likely to win the NBA championship, I feel like I'm still picking Dallas. Are you sold enough on Cleveland?
Well, it has nothing to do with Cleveland. It's just that Cleveland has to go through Boston.
All right, and Dallas, it doesn't. So it's more on a negative on them. It's not really a compliment to Dallas, is what you're saying in the question.
It's just more, who do you have to go through? Where I feel very confident that Boston is going to come out of the East, where I think it's still a toss up for the West.
Wow. All right. So Dallas, you got nothing to worry about. Luka, take your time. Be patient. Be slow starts. No problem. I'm amazed on the technical thing, though. And I think the rest of the league is really caught up.
I said they need to get, they need to get their act together soon.
Yeah. They still got a better chance at a championship than Cleveland does. And Cleveland hasn't lost this year. So they can relax. It's all right. Nothing wrong.
I guess you're looking at it that way. All right, yeah.
Just put it in cruise control. We'll get there. Just don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Just stay in that above that playing line, and you'll be okay. I started playing the outro music. Did you want to update the people on any of your travels? Do you have a story here you want to share, or anything, or you want to just get out of here? What do you want to do? The floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. No, I've switched from work mode to vacation mode, and got to explore Sydney a couple nights ago. Got to do a speakeasy in the basement. Got to do a rooftop bar on the 80th floor. Yesterday, I got to do a motorcycle ride. So yeah, I'm getting to explore more of the country. Definitely, it's how the weather works and stuff. But where back home, it's dark for you at 5 o'clock and get into wintertime. Where I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's like the complete opposite, where it's starting to get nice. So it's just fun because this is like the first couple of weeks where it's going from like spring to summer. So everyone's just like, there's more people out than normal. So just kind of cool seeing that like 6 months ahead of time for us, when in May we'll be doing the same thing of just out and about the beach. So yeah, no, it's fun. No, I like Australia. Everyone is super nice. As my travel tour continues.
Great to hear everything's going all right. You got to get back in the command center, though. All right, this heavy lifting, it's more work for me to watch games without anyone to watch them with. Sunday, I paused Red Zone because I had some family coming into town. They wanted to have lunch. So I was like, all right, Zach's not here. I'm not really talking to anybody else really throughout the games. I can just turn the phone off. I'll start Red Zone later. It was like work to not look and to not know. And then I didn't want to check anything because I'm behind, right? I'm 2 hours behind on all the games. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I tweaked my fantasy lineup like 5 minutes before 1 o'clock, so I couldn't even remember who I was playing and not playing. So now I'm just like blindly rooting for an entire team of players that some might be really improving my team and some might not even be in my lineup. it's hard to not go peek. I was really just focused and zoned in entirely on taking notes for Red Zone and watching all the games. But I'm ready for you to get back in the command center over here. It was definitely more work to try to fast forward through Red Zone. Do you know the only thing you can skip through Red Zone? It sounds like you can't skip anything because there's commercials, but you can kick all the extra points. You just get rid of them. Just kick them off to the side.
Oh, yeah. No, that's true.
You'll save some time that way, too. The only thing you can do is you got to check the score because sometimes they miss it. And you got to go back. And that happened more than once.
It's one of the main reasons why any other normal person would say, I'm going to stay in this foreign country for as long as I can, but I'm coming back early. So I can be ready for the weekend, and I can be ready for college football, college basketball, and for Red Zone, where, it's just a bunch of regular people are going to say that's weird, but for me, I want to get back in the command center, try to get back to my normal sleep schedule, and we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll be back next week. Thank you as always. Subscribe, little of column A, little of column B. I will have time codes in the description this week. Big upgrade for the podcast. Hooray for everyone. We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.